Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is your host, Thomas Sari from On the Hot Podcast. Today, I have some bonus content for you guys. The bonus content we'll be covering today will be in the sport of basketball inside the NBA world. In today's bonus segment, I'll be sharing my list of teams that I do believe that their championship windows are officially closing. So with their respective rosters, I do believe all three of these teams that I'm about to mention could be in the scenario of their last chance of being all in for a championship title, because I do believe their championship window is closing very fast in the NBA. So team number one on my list is the Miami Heat. Now, say what you want about the Miami Heat, but in this decade, in the 2020s, they've actually been one of the more dominant teams in the NBA, especially in the Eastern Conference. And the Miami Heat have been flirting with the idea of winning an NBA title for years and years now. I mean, they have 3 Eastern Conference Finals appearances, 2 NBA Finals appearances, 2 Eastern Conference titles since the 2020s. The Miami Heat have been a dominant team, but they've come up short against these better teams like the Los Angeles Lakers in the bubble, and a team that was a really one-sided NBA Finals a year or so ago against the Denver Nuggets. They just come up short against these Western Conference teams that have overall better rosters. And for whatever reason, Pat Riley does not believe in adding another star to play alongside Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. You've seen time in and time out how close they are to winning an NBA title with just Jimmy Butler becoming a whole different player in the playoffs than what he is in the regular season. I mean, he's one of the most clutch performers in the postseason. And stats don't lie, wins don't lie, game series don't lie about that. But Pat Riley doesn't want to surrender a guy like Tyler Herro over to another team, or put together a package deal with Tyler Herro included and give up a lot of bench players to get another star to play alongside Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. And I don't see why you're not doing that when you saw the Miami Heat got to the finals as an 8th seed without Tyler Herro a few years ago to get to the NBA Finals. So you could have got Pat Riley could have pulled the trigger, brought away to get Kevin Durant, guys like Kevin Durant to Miami, Kyrie Irving to Miami if he really wanted to, Damian Lillard to Miami if he really wanted to. There's been a lot of scenarios where you could have got a lot of players to play alongside Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo to help win a title. But if you're not going to bring in a star player to play alongside Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, I just think this team has reached their ceiling of winning an NBA title. And Jimmy Butler's contract is up after this season. If they don't renew it, he's going to be a free agent. But I'm just looking at this team. They got the talent, yes, but in order to get over the hump and get back to the finals, you got to get past some teams that have obviously gotten better while you have stayed in the way that you are if you're Pat Riley. Teams like the Boston Celtics, I mean, they just won an NBA title, and they brought back 13 out of 15 of their players that were on the roster last year. So the Celtics continue to get better. The Knicks continue to get better. The Cleveland Cavaliers continue to get better. I mean, you're watching everybody in the Eastern Conference that's going to be a threat get better around you while you just want to stick with the same roster. And you've lost some marquee players, a part of the rotation over the years, but really haven't done much to get better. So definitely, I have to say, our championship window is definitely closing for all Miami Heat fans out there. Now, next team is the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, the Philadelphia 76ers, Joel Embiid's health is starting to really become an issue for this team. Because Joel Embiid not being 100%, not being on the court for this Philadelphia 76ers team is the reason why I do believe that their championship window is quickly closing. Because him not being available for this team, you saw it earlier. A prime example is this. You saw it last year in January when the 76ers were a top 3 team in the East. Joel Embiid was possibly on his way to winning his second MVP award of his NBA career. Joel Embiid goes down, you lose him for months, and you watch the 76ers be at the top of the Eastern Conference and go slowly downward to the bottom part of the Eastern Conference. They had to win a play-in game against the Miami Heat to get into the playoffs, and then you lost against the New York Knicks. One of the reasons why is because Joel Embiid wasn't 100% for the playoffs, so his health is a reason why their championship window is closing. And Joel Embiid has had several opportunities to win a title. He has had several great rosters around him, but the 76ers have yet to get to Eastern Conference Finals with Joel Embiid or NBA Finals with Joel Embiid. A lot of people like to call him the Lamar Jackson of the NBA, but as I digress, I don't know. If Joel Embiid doesn't get it together health-wise, and if he's not locked in, you're already seeing the 76ers as one of the worst teams in the Eastern Conference this early on in the NBA season. And they just brought in a player like Paul George, but both of those guys have not been healthy. Well, if you're being realistic, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Paul George have already, all three of them have missed a pretty good chunk of time with injuries this early in the NBA season. So yeah, you could have that excuse for them, but I'm not buying it because this can continue for Joel Embiid, who has a history of not being healthy. So I have to think if their downward spiral of being the worst teams in the East continues, 76ers might want to cash in and trade Joel Embiid to a team that might need his services, a contending team, get what you can, and then you start to slowly rebuild this team built around your young star player Tyrese Maxey, who is not going anywhere for the 76ers. So Joel Embiid's health is the reason why I do believe that the 76ers roster is completely, this team's championship window is completely closing pretty quickly, because this is an ongoing, continuing problem for the 76ers not having their star player Joel Embiid healthy. Now, last but not least is the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, the Milwaukee Bucks, they are starting to turn things around slowly but surely. Doc Rivers seems like he's cracked the code to get this team back to where they need to be, being in the conversation for being one of the best teams in the East record-wise. But, however, I think the Bucks are on their last chance of getting another title back to Milwaukee with this current roster. I mean, don't get me wrong, Giannis is still a dominant player, a dominant two-way player, a playmaking slasher, a guy that you don't want to see when you're guarding the perimeter in the paint. Giannis is still one of the best players that the NBA has to offer. But a supporting cast, the core that the Bucks roster has, they are getting older. I mean, I'm looking at these players, his age, Brook Lopez is 36. Chris Middleton has always had injury issues. He's 33. Damian Lillard, who they just brought in a year ago, is 34, but he's still putting up some decent numbers, some solid numbers. Now, that is a problem. And when you have a playoff choker like Doc Rivers as your head coach, it makes me consider the thought of, is their championship window closing faster than what a lot of people think it is? Because they're going to have to answer a lot of questions when the playoffs rolls around. Are they going to be able to handle the Boston Celtics in a 7-game series? Teams like the Cavs, can they handle them in a 7-game series? The Knicks, hell, even the Miami Heat, because the Miami Heat have their number in the playoffs when they're healthy. So I'm looking at all these scenarios, all these players getting up there in age. This could be their last chance of winning a title with this core and bringing another title back to Milwaukee, because if they don't do it, for their sake, I would just trade Giannis and Damian Lillard and start the rebuild in Milwaukee, because these players are getting older. What can you really give up to get some star players back in Milwaukee for everything that they gave up just to get Damian Lillard? They even took trading away Drew Holiday to the Trailblazers that eventually got to the Celtics, and you saw what the impact that he had when he got another championship his damn self and helping the Celtics win a title. So I don't know. It's all three of these teams are all Eastern Conference teams, and with their windows closing, this could definitely open the door for a team like the Orlando Magic, a young team that is trying to emerge as being a top-tier team. They are already one of the top-tier teams in the regular season, but they're just lacking that playoff experience. They're just waiting to take off. That could open the door for a team like them to possibly emerge as one of the top teams in the East all year long, because Heat, 76ers, and Bucks, a lot of questions to be answered, and I do believe all three of those teams' championship window is closing very quickly. But that is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. This is your host, Thomas Tyree, signing off, and I'll see you guys on next week's episode.